All right, y'all, sorry it's a little bit late. It's been a busy week, but here is our next chapter of Capital. We are now on part 3, which is titled The Production of Absolute Surplus Value, and chapter 7, The Labor Process and the Process of Producing Surplus Value. So we have some more definitions. They're really just expanded definitions of things we've already talked about. So, labor. What is labor, right? Labor is a uniquely human act to create something of want or need, okay? Labor transforms nature into something useful. A laborer is a person, obviously, but a laborer is labor power in action. It is a person doing labor power. It is the action of work, essentially, right? And productive labor is just making something, right? It's making something of use value, right? We have 3 points here, the elementary factors of the labor process. 1, personal activity of man, that is the work itself. 2 is the subject of that work, right, the item, the thing that you're making. And 3 is the instruments, tools, or nature, which we also would call the means of production, okay? We are producing things with use value to sell, okay? We are taking something of use value, like cotton, right? Cotton is a use value on its own, but through the labor process, we are creating something with a new use value, like yarn, okay? We're taking the cotton, we are putting it through the labor process, and we're coming out with yarn on the other side, and that is something that also has use value. The processes of production, that is the labor process. It is a transformative process. We are transforming something into something else, right? So what determines the exchange value of a commodity? It is the raw materials plus the labor plus the tools that are used in that labor plus the labor time, okay? We got more math equations here. But all of those things combined are what creates the exchange value of our commodity, okay? So here's where we get to what surplus value is. Surplus value is capital, okay? It is the profit that the capitalist has at the end of the labor process, essentially stolen off the back of the laborer. So essentially, we have that equation, the raw materials, the labor, the tools, and the labor time. The value of labor is essentially the price to keep the worker alive, right? To feed them, to clothe them, to house them, and to raise their families so that they can eventually replace themselves with a new generation of laborers. But the capitalist doesn't want to pay you that full value of your labor. So let's say you're working for 8 hours. They're going to pay you for about 4 hours of that, again, with that equation. So they're only paying for half of that. Everything they extract, everything left over from that is surplus value. It is profit to the capitalist, okay? So workers are not paid enough to survive nowadays. This is a little abstract from this chapter, but when we think about this equation, right, and we know that minimum wage nowadays is not enough to keep you fed, clothed, housed, and raise a family. Like we know that it's poverty wages is what minimum wage is right now. So we have things like welfare to fill in those gaps, right? We have the working class pays our taxes, right? And those taxes are used to pay for these welfare programs to fill in the gaps when companies should be the ones that are just paying their workforce a livable wage, right? Paying them the full price of their labor. And also in the global north, we have to consider the way the global south subsidizes us here, right? And how where our capitalists are able to not pay for the full value because we're extracting things, labor, resources, minerals, all of those things from the global south. So, that's where imperialism comes into play here. Yeah, chapter 7. Cheers, y'all.